Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with my WWE Extreme Rules review for this Sunday, June the 4th, 2017, from Baltimore, Maryland, Job City. Before I start here, I just want to say something a little bit personal at the beginning here. It's been kind of a weird day. I got through this pay-per-view fine. It was kind of a sad day. My grandfather passed away this morning. And I think it was like age 83 or 84, peacefully in his sleep. It was kind of a sad day. I hung up with my family all day, with my grandmother, consoling her. But my grandpa passing away is the only grandpa I ever had, because my dad's dad passed on before I was even born. So my mom's dad was the only grandpa I had growing up. So I was kind of sad. And I saw him yesterday at a birthday party for my cousin. What would be the last time anyone would see him alive, so it's kind of sad. I got the phone call this morning. So, just for my grandpa here, too sweet to you, man. Prayers to my family continually. I want to thank everybody for anyone who wants to send their condolences and prayers to myself and my family this time. So that's what happens when you are mourning or grieving. You soak yourself in anything to distract you. And wrestling is a great distraction. For the most part. Wrestling, when it's done right, it's a good distraction. And leading to Extreme Rules, the build for it was just okay. And a lot of things, a lot of quotes were being said by us. Probably the most common things heard while people watching Extreme Rules. Backlash is better. This is why Raw's ratings are going low. This is why SmackDown's a better show. But there's one question we were asking ourselves. Probably asking ourselves, trying to make fun of our old Wendy's catchphrase. Because Wendy's had a catchphrase, where's the beef? You know what we were saying? Where's the extreme? It took about 3 hours to get a really good extreme spot. And that was our main event. The best match of the night. That's like watching a Power Rangers movie and having to wait 2 hours before we see a morph scene. Or watching a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie and have to wait about an hour for a fight scene. Come on. You know what I mean? Use any analogy you want. For this being Extreme Rules, it didn't feel extreme. It felt limp for the most part. You had some interesting decisions with two new champions crowned tonight. One we kind of saw coming, and the other one we didn't see coming. And we had a squasher of a women's match. We had a segment that should have been on Raw, but it was still done good. And an interesting swerve in our main event. So, some interesting decisions, some good decisions, some bad decisions. And with no other extreme stuff happening, I'll get this pay-per-view. I was thinking about what to give this one. I gotta get it 6.0. Because besides the Extreme Rules 5-way, there was a couple good matches, but guess what? On any normal pay-per-view, would be fine. For these three matches, the IC title match, the tag title match, and the cruiserweight match were fine. But this is Extreme Rules. And those three should be more extreme. Got better stipulations in them. Instead of submission, a cage match, and a DQ gimmick. He had a really good pre-show match, though, but still. Like I said, on another pay-per-view, they would pass. But the Extreme Rules should have done better with the extremeness. Didn't get much of it, like I said, till main event. We got glimpses here and there of extremeness, but not too much until, like I said, the main event. Let's kick things off with a pre-show match. Kalisto against Apollo Crews, who's faced each other before on Raw. This is probably one of the best pre-show matches I've seen, because usually pre-show matches are usually throwaway matches. This is a good one, actually. Proving why both these guys need pushes. They have great potential. They are great in the ring. There were some good spots there, especially some flying spots with Kalisto. There was like a springboard, middle springboard thing that was kind of cool. He did it twice, and the second time got nailed with a big punch by Apollo. That was a great spot there. And there was a good action here. You know what I mean? I feel bad these two are kind of lost in the shuffle on Raw. And sadly, here's the most ironic thing of all. They were just on SmackDown. The so-called land of opportunity. They were and they were kind of clustered there too. And now they're in that same position on Raw, lost in the shuffle. You know, he's kind of weird. They should have been pushed more on SmackDown. Now they're on Raw, and they're still lost in the shuffle. And they don't deserve it. Apollo's trying to get over with Titus, but I don't think it's working. Especially after decent little matchup. Apollo, who's got distracted a little bit by Titus getting involved, getting kicked by Kalisto. Using the Salida del Sol, using Titus as a kickboard, and a 1-2-3 victory for Kalisto.
Call from wireless caller.
Sorry, feel me.
Call from
Mom, I'm making a video. Yeah, Extreme Rules review. No. Yeah. You walk that late? Alright. Yeah, bye-bye. I think so, but I don't know. Let me visit my video. Bye-bye. Sorry, it's my mom calling. She went out for a while. She's been walking a lot. Especially, it was good for her today, especially with her dad passing away, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video. So, interesting match to open up. There's some good action here. But I hope these guys get some more efficient stuff for them to work with soon. Because they had a great match here. 3.0 for this one. A surprisingly good pre-show match. And there has been some good pre-show matches in the past, with this best one lately. But it's sad that these two are getting misused on the main roster because they have great potential. Need more development in the character. Especially Kalisto needs to be in Cruiserweight division. But I'm kind of glad he's not because the Cruiserweight's getting as misused as these two. So let's begin the main show, shall we? With the IC title match. Dean Ambrose against The Miz with the extreme stipulation that if Ambrose were to lose by disqualification, he would get stripped of the title and Miz would win it. Kind of using the stip that was used for Christian when he owned back in 2011. Interesting, you had two stipulation matches that involved Edge and Christian past. You know, you had a tag team cage match. One of them in the past was Edge and Christian against the Hardys. And then you have a match that involved Christian in the past with a DQ of losing the title by DQ in this match with Dean Ambrose and Miz. And these two have had battles on SmackDown. Interesting with the Superstar shakeup. They both came on and they're feuding with each other again. You know, shakeup was just an okay experiment, which they should just stick to a normal draft if they want to do a shakeup. So, anywho, kind of a slow bit of a match, and especially early on, you saw the tease of the Ambrose DQ with Ambrose won't break the hold of 5, and even a couple teases of Ambrose using a steel chair a couple times. So early on, you had the teasing of Ambrose trying to not be tempted by getting DQ'd. So the Miz would capitalize on that and just pound on Ambrose and targeting his leg throughout the match, especially heading towards the figure 4 at one point. Really targeting that knee. And then Miz's knee got targeted too by Ambrose, especially when Ambrose turned it on him and did his own figure 4 later on in the matchup. And once it got going, there was some good action here and there. You know, probably not one of the best outings, but still a decent outing from these two. You know, decent little opener here. The ending was kind of convoluted, should I say. So they were really teasing the DQ really towards the end of the matchup here. Ambrose and Miz were talking in the corner, and then the turnbuckle cover came off, and Ambrose was going to nail Miz against the exposed turnbuckle. That would be DQ. But then had a little turnaround as Maurice was on the apron, where we got nailed a little bit almost, but then Miz was trying to swing Ambrose. Miz almost hit Maurice, and then Miz almost nailed Maurice, and then he basically told Maurice to slap him. So like, oh, DQ! You know, but the referee saw through Miz's plan to get himself intentionally DQ'd for Ambrose to lose. So he threw Maurice out of the match. But then, as the referee was distracted with Maurice, trying to get her out, Ambrose got nailed by Miz. Miz pushed Ambrose inadvertently into the referee, knocking him out. We thought DQ. But no! Referee was about to do the DQ, but Miz nailed a skull crusher finale. Ref came back in. 1, 2, 3. Miz wins the IC Championship in a very convoluted ending. The DQ stip never really came into effect. It was teased with, Miz getting slapped by Maurice. That wasn't a DQ. Ambrose nailing the referee. That wasn't a DQ. So it was like, weird little convoluted ending. But Miz is a new IC champion, and he's 7 times. He is now 2 reigns away from tying Chris Jericho's all-time record of 9 IC title reigns. And, of course, 3 more from officially breaking it. Now, yes, I would like somebody new to be IC champion, instead of just Miz and Ambrose at a time. But if you had a choice between Ambrose or Miz, if it came down to these two, I would choose Miz over Ambrose. Ambrose's title reign has been like, eh. Miz is IC champion, especially when he was IC champion after Mania. It was like breath of fresh air. The way he's been handled since Maurice came back has been like amazing. His feud with Ziggler was great. His feud with Ambrose was okay, but hopefully now Miz can feud with more people and new people and have somebody else in Miz and have a better IC title reign than Ambrose did. But for now, I'm glad that Miz is still Miz is champion again. 3.3. First one, fun opener. Kind of a few points. Deduct a few points for a convoluted ending. The DQ step never really happened. Should be more extreme. Because it's supposed to be extreme rules, so. There you go. And talking about extreme. What could be more extreme than a mixed tag match? Yeah, Alicia Fox and Noam Dar. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Alicia Fox teaming up with Noam Dar against Baltimore's own Rich Swan against the falling star that is Sasha Banks. The mighty have fallen. I've kind of been talking about Sasha's placement on the card lately. But at least the good thing is, at least they're finally exposing 2 of 5 live members outside of their little bubble. Because they've been fighting each other, not being able to fight other people outside of their division. Because you have SWAN kind of interjecting into a women's feud. Because you had Fox and Sasha been feuding for reasons for the last couple of weeks. Of course, Dawn and Fox and SWAN have had their little altercations of late. So this match, especially after the IC title match, was just okay. Very short little match. Dawn and SWAN got a little action in. Especially SWAN getting a lot more cheers than usual. Especially it was in his hometown of Baltimore. But Fox and Sasha were catfighting. At least no weaves fell out like on 205 Live this past Tuesday. Because they had a little bit of a brawl during a Dar SWAN match. And Sasha actually snatched a piece of Alicia's weave off. So no weave was flying tonight. There was one cool little spot. Alicia Fox was going to get the double knees from the top from Sasha. But instead, Dar would shield Alicia from the flying top rope move from Sasha. But he got there with the double knees from Sasha. That was the only cool spot in this match. And that would kind of set up the ending with Fox's BFF, Dar being pushed back in the ring, getting the Phoenix Splash from SWAN in the 1-2-3 victory. And it's kind of more interesting. A hometown guy actually won. Because you've seen a lot of hometown people losing lately. Because you saw Bayley lose in a hometown. And AJ just lost in his hometown. Well, near his hometown of Augusta. Or Gainesville. Because he was in Atlanta last week for SmackDown. So it's kind of rare to see a hometown guy actually win. Now, I knew the faces would win. And guess what? That's what happened here. Fun little matchup. Short but sweet. 2.5. It was just okay. And I just mentioned Bayley. And now on to what, I hate to say this, what's match of the night? For the women's title, the Raw women's title, the Candlestick on a Pole match between Alexa Bliss and Bayley. The match was just like the build. One-sided. The build of this match was already weak as it was. Especially with that horrible This Is Your Life segment. So there was like no back and forth at all. They were like, they just brawled a little bit, And then they went for the candlestick, had a little tug of war over the candlestick. Bayley had the candlestick at one point, but never used it. Because the majority of the match was just like the build. Bliss just wailing on Bayley, just smacking Bayley around with that candlestick. You know, they're literally burying Bayley here. So, after the little brawl with the stick, Bliss just blissfully ended this torturous match with the DDT and a 1-2-3 victory. It was not even like 5 minutes long. And it was kind of a squash match. It should have been on wall. You know what I mean? It's just sad. 2.0. I mean, I love these women, but this is just... But let me say this. When you look back on the build, the match kind of deserved to be the way it did, especially with the shitty-ass build. So the match deserved to be this bad. And hopefully Bliss can move on without being scathed, even beat without any bruising anymore, especially after this weak build. Because what happened to Nia Jax? We haven't seen her in a couple weeks. We had the whole best friend teasing a few weeks ago. That never went anywhere after that. But Bliss's so-called friend Nia was on the pre-show, and she did say she wants a title match. Bliss against Nia is almost like seeing Brock against Balor. It's kind of like outmatched. But I think Bliss could do well with Nia. Hey, Nia had matches with Bayley. That was okay. You know, that was just feasible. So, I think Bliss can do the same with Nia as Bayley did back in NXT. And the main roster. So, there you go. A little bit disappointing. This is why SmackDown's better. Especially SmackDown has the balls to have a more extreme match than Raw. They have the first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match coming up. And I will be reviewing Money in the Bank because I wasn't able to be home for Backlash. But there will be a Money in the Bank review on June 18th. So there will be one. Because I'm going to be able to watch it live. So after that, well before that, I need to mention, I mentioned in the beginning we had a segment that should have been on Raw. Elias Sampson showed up. I was like, okay, we're going to get a filler match. But no, he just came out and sang a song. And it was kind of cool, though. Yes, like I said, should have been on Raw, especially it didn't lead to anything. But it did give him some heat. You know, making fun of Baltimore. Like, this city's full of filth. So, I liked it. A lot of people were booing it. He's getting a lot of heat, as much as he did in NXT. So that's a good heel work from Sampson. I think he's doing decent on the main roster. That's fine. You know, we'll see how he does on it. But I like the way they've been doing it with him just mysteriously showing up. They got a real match. Even though he got a jobber last week after getting the Ambrose 2 weeks before. So hopefully we see Ambrose, not Ambrose against Sampson, but Sampson against seasonable competition, not a jobber again next week. Oh, tomorrow, should I say, on Raw. Now on to the Steel Cage match for the Raw Tag Team titles. It was, of course, the Hardys, still unbroken for now, taking on Cesaro and Sheamus. There was some brokenness earlier on because you have a new Hardys t-shirt with the most exhilarating tag team of all time. And during the pre-show interview, Matt Hardy said, we are going to prove that we are the greatest tag team of time and space. That's one of the catchphrases he made, besides obsolete. And for being a PG cage match, not bad. You know, some good action, some good spots, some good act. My favorite spot was when Matt Hardy got taken out with that double team, white noise double team. That was vicious. Vicious spot. And the rules for this match was there was no pinfall submission. The only way you could win is to have both members outside of the cage. Kind of like the Edge and Christian Hardy's tag team title match at Unforgiven back in 2000. I was actually watching that a couple weeks ago. Because I'm watching like old Walls and SmackDowns from 2000, like binging on that, like reliving that year. Probably one of the best years in the Attitude Era was 2000. So I was watching old Walls and SmackDowns and the pay-per-views. So I did watch that Hardys and Edge and Christian. It was kind of like that. You know, like the only way you can win is have both members out of the cage. And it was almost playing out in the match because Jeff Hardy came out first, leaving Matt all alone with Cesaro and Sheamus. And that's when they did a double team and everything. And it's interesting that when you're out of the cage, Did he really explain that when you're out of the cage, you're not allowed to get back in? Well, Jeff only did it like he did back in 2000. He did got back in, and he was teasing on the pre-show a Swanton bomb up the top. He didn't do a Swanton. He did a whisper in the window. That was a good spot, though. Another good spot, before he did this whisper, he was trying to get in through the door. And got nailed with a big brogue kick through the door by Sheamus. So that was a cool little spot. You know, it's a good action, little pulling here and there. You know, for being like a PG cage match with no blood, it was still decent. You know, then after Jeff got back in, starting from square one, you know, saw various attempts of everyone escaping the cage during various points in the match, but the ending came when both teams were trying to climb out of the cage, both at the same time on both sides of the cage. Matt was out first, but as he was about to get Jeff's feet, because he was pulling Jeff from the door. Like they were going for the door, and Sheamus and Cesaro was climbing. Sheamus and Cesaro climbed out successfully with both their feet touching before Jeff's and Matt's touched, with new tag team champions Cesaro and Sheamus. Interesting decision, because I thought the Hardys would retain here. But this could be the reasoning of the long-awaited brokenness. We're waiting to see if WWE could finally get the trademarks. There's been a lot of rumors about them getting it. And also a lot more rumors that they would not use the broken trademark at all. But now they're using Exhilarating on a t-shirt. And Matt said best tag team of all of time and space, still teasing brokenness here and there. And losing tonight could cause Matt to be broken again. Especially after that white noise double team. Could help. So we'll see if he does get broken tomorrow night, or is it going to be another slow burn. Kind of like the Corey Graves storyline. Didn't get anything in that tonight. Probably going to save that for Watermore. That is intriguing. All Corey Graves, Kurt Angle thing, and of course Revival, Enzo, and Cass. They're probably going to save more storyline building for that on Watermore. So 3.5 for this steel cage match. For being a PG ladder cage match, it was great. Not as good as their payback match. The payback match was not bad. It was very hard hitting, and this was as well. So there you go. Maybe not as good as the payback match, still decent. And now the feud's over. But it's going to be interesting. Is Survivor going to be a face? Or they're going to just feud with Enzo and Cass over the alleged attack on Enzo. Unless it is Big Cass. I think it's Cass. Maybe aligning with Corey. Just setting us up. Because he had a little confrontation with Corey last week. Maybe it's just a Corey. A ploy to just to trick us when they eventually make the reveal. When this whole storyline does pay off. And hopefully it's a big payoff. Unlike tonight's payoffs. For the most part. On to the Cruiserweight title match. A submission match. Extreme! With Neville and Cesaro. Austin Aries. This is pretty... it wasn't as good as the other matches that they've had. I still wish it was like a weapons match, especially either way, that Neville retained his title last time by ringing referee, so I thought there'd be like a no DQ match or something cool like that, but no, they had to do a submission match. They made it more of a thinking man's match. But this is Extreme Rules, man. Like I said, these matches, especially the IC title match and the Cruiserweight title match on any normal pay-per-view, they would be acceptable. But there's Extreme Rules. They should have better stipulations than the DQ thing with the IC title match and the submission one. And I will say this. There was no TJP involvement. So it's kind of interesting. That was the only good thing. That we didn't see TJP come out to interfere. It was just these two one-on-one for what would be Aries' last time challenging Neville, win or lose. Aries was easing last change too early, and so was Neville with the Rings of Sharon. They were balling outside a little bit. And decent action here. There was more of a thinking man match, and the beach ball returned. And of course, there was a switching submission, with both guys going for figure fours at one point. And even Aries turned it on Neville and did his own finisher. The submission, the Rings of Saturn. So it's kind of interesting to see him do that. So there's some decent action here and there. Austin teasing the discus 5-0 at one point, but never got to. So, and after the attempt at the Rings of Saturn by Aries, and even Neville tried to pull referee again, kind of a la callback to the payback match. By the way, that Neville retained his title by deliberately disqualifying himself. There's a big kick, and they brought it outside, and then Austin got the last chance in. But then they rolled out of the ring. And Neville was put into that lock still by Aries, and he tapped out. Now, of course, the rules state, I don't really explain it, but they are rules that you must submit in the ring. So Neville did not lose because he technically tapped out outside the ring and not inside it. Kind of a cop-out. You know, Neville tapped out 2 weeks in a row in a tag match and outside the ring. So then after that, Neville was talking a lot on the knee of Aries, and there was some tape on his back tonight too. So after Aries rolled up Neville back in the ring, he was trying to go for a suicide dive and then crashed and burned. And that was the beginning of the end. With Austin's broken body, after missing the suicide dive, Neville would roll back Aries in. Red Arrow, 1, 2, 3, victory. With the tap out as well, they transitioned from the Red Arrow to the Rings of Saturn, and Aries tapped out. So Neville retains. It's been a decent little feud. You know, some good matches. The other matches were better. The Mania match was better. The Payback match was better. This was a decent one. Not as good as the last two, but still a decent one. It probably the not the best cruiserweight match on pay-per-view. You know, last couple cruiserweight matches on pay-per-view, cruiserweight title matches since the Rumble have been awesome. The title match in Rumble was excellent. The only good part about Fastlane was Gallagher and Neville. And the Payback match wasn't that bad between Aries and Neville, and of course the Mania pre-show match. But it wasn't as good as the other ones. But I'll give it a 3.3. It was still good, but sure more extreme. Better stipulation should have been added. That was more extreme. Because we were leaving all the extreme spots for the best match of the night, the main event. And I hope that this means that Nero gets new opponents and uses more cruiserweights than just the same 5 guys. And it also gives Aries time to think. He said on Twitter, time to rethink. Maybe we think to go to the main roster and just feud with other guys. Go out of the cruiserweight bubble and start feuding with like Balor and Joe. Basically anybody in our Fatal 5-Way against Aries. Like Aries against Joe would be great. They had a little history in TNA. Joe and Aries and Balor would be great. Aries and Roman would be... Aries and Rollins would be excellent. So Aries should just branch out and go feud with other guys outside of the cruiserweight division. And now on to the best match of the night, the main event. The Extreme Rules, and they really went more extreme than other matches on this card. On this matchup, the Fatal 5-Way, to determine the number 1 contender for goodness gracious, great balls of fire. They had the first commercial. Like the commercial, hate the theme. And they really got the license to use the song Great Balls of Fire by Jerry Lee Lewis. They actually paid licensing fees to Jerry Lee Lewis and Universal Music for the rights for the use of the song. So, I think we were all wondering if the song was going to be used. And it is being used. So who's going to face Lesnar? Was it going to be Finn Balor? Was it going to be Samoa Joe? Was it going to be Seth Rollins? Bray Wyatt? Oh, Roman Reigns. Anybody but Woman. God, Woman got his ass chewed down the building yet again. I think we know that the Eastern Seaboard hates Roman Reigns. Whether it's in Pittsburgh or Philly, PA, Brooklyn, New York City, New York, or Boston, Mass, or in this case, Baltimore, Maryland, the Eastern Seaboard hates Roman Reigns. Include Boston in it as well. So, this was just a brawl. This is just a fun match. Some extreme spots. It did take a while to get a weapon in the match, though. About 10 minutes. Then a chair got brought in. You know, and everyone got a chance to shine. We saw another tease of the little alliance that's been kind of formed with Wyatt and Joe. They've been like teaming up a little bit, doing matches as of late, and they teamed up yet again for like the majority of the match. They were just triple teaming on everybody. Destroying Balor with a chair, and of course, destroying like anytime anyone would hit Roman, anyone would pop. Especially at one point, Roman was going for the drive-by and he got blocked by Joe. They got like a yay pop. So anytime anyone would get a shot on Reigns, didn't matter who, they were gonna pop because everybody hates Reigns. So for a while, Wyatt and Joe were looking good at one point. You know, they were just looking good, just double teaming everybody, especially isolating Rollins at one point. But then the alliance kind of was short-lived after Wyatt kind of sacrificed Joe. When Rollins was getting back in, Rollins got back in after Reigns got isolated, should I say. Rollins was going for a splash. Reigns was still out. But Rollins was going for a splash. Wyatt went out of the way. He pushed Joe in there, and Joe took it. And Joe was pissed that he got pushed into the Rollins spot when Bray did it. And they got into a brawl, and the alliance was over. But I think it'd be a fun tag team, to be honest. Especially when they were teaming up early on. And then Balor came back in. Like, everyone got a chance to shine in. Not just Wyatt and Joe, but also Balor did well. The best spots in the match were definitely when Wyatt and Joe were trying to brawl. And then Balor was brawling with Wyatt, and they put Wyatt on the Smash Announce table. He was probably going for a coup de grace off the top rope. But then Joe got him, and got him in the key to clutch, and then by the timekeeper's area, bang! Reigns out of nowhere speared the hell out of both of them to the timekeeper's area, which was amazing. And with Wyatt still out on the table, Rollins, the last one standing after Reigns speared Joe, and Balor did a massive frog splash from the top through the table onto Wyatt. So that was like the most extreme spots of the night was that spear from Roman and Rollins frog splash. And it came down to these two, Rollins and Reigns. And they had a little bit of a recap, basically picking up where they left off in the Great Wall match. Even Aries and callbacks to the Wall match with the Buckle Bomb Superman punch spot again. You know, when Roman took the Buckle Bomb, bounced off and bang, Superman punch. It wasn't as effective. It didn't look as bouncy as the first one did on Wall, but it was still done. So as these two had a little bit of one-on-one exchange with the other three out for a while, and they were just brawling and they couldn't get the other one down. You know, Reigns was going for Superman punch and the spear. Seth was going for Phoenix Splash, even going for his clothesline knee we have not seen ever since he debuted after Mania, which doesn't have a name yet. It's like a move that Omega uses it. So then, Reigns rolled out of ring, then Bray Wyatt would come back in, teasing Sister Abigail on both Reigns and Rollins at one point. But then, Balor came back in, did a sling blade on the Reigns, and also on Wyatt, and then the dropkick in the corner, and it looked like Balor was going to win it. He was going for the coup de grace, and he got it. And then all of a sudden, Joe went corner with the Nikita clutch and choked Balor out. Big swerve here. Samoa Joe wins. He is the new #1 contender for the Universal title of Brock Lesnar. This is an interesting swerve. Like, I think a lot of people, including myself, were expecting Balor to win. Even though some of us were not too keen on a possible Balor Lesnar match, because Balor would get destroyed by Brock Lesnar. You know, even my dad, I've been saying it. We watched wrestling together, and my dad was a big critic about Balor taking on Joe. Or should I say against Lesnar, because Lesnar would destroy Balor, because Balor's not big enough for Lesnar. Like, Reigns could take on Lesnar, he has before. Rollins could take on Lesnar. They had a match 2 years ago, but didn't have a conclusive finish, because Taker got involved, starting the two matches they would have, he and Lesnar at SummerSlam, and their Great Hell in a Cell match, the last Great Hell in a Cell match. That was like the old ones, but with blood involved. So there's a big swerve. They were pushing Balor, but I am kind of gutted this swerve, because I'm glad they're saving a Balor title one for later. He just came back, and probably if Balor would have taken on Lesnar, he probably would have lost. And that would not do him any favors. You know what I mean? And it'd be great to save a Balor title one for later, when it's another guy who has the title that's not Lesnar. And I also like the way that Balor passed out. They protected Balor by not tapping out, giving fans more sympathy for Balor to get a title one. He already got the sympathy card for Balor getting another title match by the fact he never really lost the title. Now you got more sympathy added for Balor with him not tapping out the Joe's Cookie to clutch by passing out to it. So I do like they did kind of protect him there. And Joe and Lesnar is a match that I think a lot of people were like, there's like a dream match for many, but no one thought they'd actually see it. I'm glad they didn't go to predictable out and pick Reigns. Thank God. Rollins wasn't the best booked, and Joe did win the fatal triple threat match on Monday. So he did have some momentum going into the pay-per-view. But I didn't really think he'd win. But I am glad in the end. Because in my mind, it didn't matter who won if it was anybody but Reigns. And everyone got their wish. Anybody but Reigns, and they swerved us. You know what I mean? Hey, if SmackDown could swerve and give Jinder Mahal the WWE title, they can swerve us on the Raw pay-per-view and give Joe the title match for Great Balls of Fire. 4.0 for this one. Best match of the night, bar none. The saving grace of the pay-per-view. Now, heading towards that Great Balls of Fire match. I'm hearing rumors it's going to be one and done. That's why I'm also kind of glad Balor won, like a loss. Like I said, reading from the dirt sheets today that the winner of the match was going to probably lose to Lesnar, and Lesnar would take on Strowman if Strowman is healthy enough to make it for SummerSlam. They're still going for Lesnar Strowman if Strowman is healthy by SummerSlam. They all saying he's up to 6 months, but they're saying up to 6 months to tease the early return. We haven't heard anything about Strowman lately, about whether or not he will be active or not. And probably, if he was healthy, he probably would have been taking on Lesnar, Great Balls of Fire. And he probably would have had a blow-off match against Roman Reigns tonight. That would have been really good with the weapons used. So, and that's why they put Reigns in this Fatal 5-way. Because you have possible feuds with Balor and Wyatt. I hope they will continue to tease the feud. Continue the feud they teased a few weeks ago during the IC title #1 contenders match when Wyatt screwed Balor over. After that, it came and went. Probably because plans went awry after Strowman got injured, so they had to go last minute and put Balor and Wyatt together, and Joe and Rollins probably would have had a match tonight, too, if Strowman didn't get injured. We're probably going to see those individual matches later. Joe and Rollins way later, probably saving it for SummerSlam if Joe loses to Lesnar, probably. But we probably will see a Balor-Wyatt match. Hopefully the feud will continue to build coming out of this. They teased it a few weeks ago and nothing came out of it. Hopefully they will continue to tease it and lead towards something. So we shall see. And Joe and Lesnar is a very intriguing matchup. You have two guys who are like 300 pounds, and it will be a fucking fight. It might be one of Lesnar's best matches because he's a guy he can really go around with. And hopefully Lesnar will cooperate, when it comes to planning the match out. Because I'm hearing he's hard to cooperate with when it comes to planning out matches. That's why the Lesnar-Ambrose match sucked at WrestleMania, because Lesnar would not go through with Ambrose's plans. That's why it wasn't much of a street fight, which is a boring match. It was kind of underwhelming. It's probably one of the few matches of that shitty-ass Mania 32 that was going to save the pay-per-view. But it didn't. A couple of other matches did live up to hype, like the women's match. But Ambrose and Lesnar was a big disappointment. And now we know why, because of the stories that came out that Lesnar was uncooperative with Ambrose. And I hope that he's more cooperative with Joe. These two will just tear the house down if they're allowed to. If Lesnar allows it, and it's longer than his matches with Cobra combined, longer than 5 minutes and 55 seconds, this should be a very intriguing matchup. But I still think Lesnar will return, especially if they're all going to go with Strowman and Lesnar. And of course, probably make Lesnar and Reigns the main event of Mania 34. Hope that doesn't happen. We don't want Reigns main event Mania, Super Reigns main event Mania for the 4th year in a row. So, there you go. So that's my thoughts on Extreme Rules. Okay, pay-per-view. And I hope Money in the Bank's better. And I think it will be, because SmackDown's a lot better than Raw. And this will continue to probably fumble Raw's ratings. That is lowest ratings ever. And This Is Your Life segment didn't help either. So I'll see how Raw wants to rebound. And hopefully Raw is a better ground or should I say, better Great Balls of Fire. Shitty ass name, but hopefully it lives up to better hype. Especially with Balor out, with Wyatt, and of course the main event now for Great Balls of Fire, now Joe and Lesnar. That is it for my Extreme Rules review. Like I said, 6.0 for this one. I'll give it, that's my final rating, 6.0. Just because there was some good matches in there, but for being an Extreme Rules pay-per-view, it should have been a lot more extremer than just the main event. So that's it. With that in mind, you've all been attacked by the review from Zach. See you all later. Bye-bye.